The Great Sith War was a conflict that broke out in the year 3996 before Battle of Yavin, and until that moment, the Republic and the Jedi would witness one of the greatest threats the galaxy had seen in its entire history. An alliance made up of 4 key pieces: the Dark Lord of the Sith Exar Kun, his apprentice Ulic Qel-Droma, who together with Aleema Keto lead a cult fueled by the ambition of the dark side, Krath, and the Mandalorians, who responded to their leader, Mandalore the Indomitable, who in turn would be loyal to Ulic Qel-Droma. The seed that sparked the start of the war was the influence of a former enemy of the Republic and the Jedi, the Sith. Although none of the opposing leaders were truly Sith, their influence was produced over thousands of years, each being a link in a complete unit. The first key piece to understand the beginning of the Great Sith War is Freedon Nath. During the year 4400 before Battle of Yavin and 4000 before Battle of Yavin, he was a fallen Jedi who, driven by disappointment and frustration with the Jedi, deserted the Order in search of knowledge being received by one of the greatest Sith who ever existed, Naga Sadow, the architect of the Great Hyperspace War. Under the tutelage of the Sith and stationed on the moon Yavin 4, Freedon Nath was able to expand his knowledge and increase his powers and abilities. Freedon Nath's ambition wouldn't remain on Yavin 4. Hungry to have his own reign, Freedon takes the planet Onderon as his new home, dominating the inhabitants of the planet. On the other hand, Aleema, along with her cousin Sadal, were the leaders of Krath. The Krath were an unusual group. They didn't receive formal training from the Sith. Instead, they learned techniques by studying all objects and getting help from a powerful spirit with great Sith knowledge, Freedon Nath himself. They figured out how to use ancient Sith amulets, create huge and destructive illusions from the Sith, and use Sith sorcery. Following the rebellion of the Nathists on Onderon during the year 3998 before Battle of Yavin, Aleema and Sadal would be the chosen by Freedon Nath as heirs to the dark side, continuing his legacy. Aleema wouldn't be the only one influenced by Freedon Nath. Exar Kun, a Jedi ambitious to expand his knowledge and power, will leave the Jedi Order in search of what the Jedi did not allow him. Traveling to Dexon, where in the tomb of Freedon Nath, Exar met Freedon. From the beginning, Nath had the intention of seducing Exar to the dark side, so he intentionally incited situations where the Jedi would have to accept the dark side or else he could die. However, Exar wouldn't accept being under Freedon Nath's rule, and tired of him, Exar would end the existence of what was once a prodigious Force user. Ulic Qel-Droma, despite actively fighting against the dark side, the death of his master, Jedi Master Arcajeth, would cause a total change in the Jedi. Although he intended to remain on the light side of the Force, Ulic sinned with pride, thinking that he wouldn't respond to the call of the darkness. However, after a duel against Exar Kun, the 2 former Jedi would be named as heirs of a new golden age of the Sith, giving birth to a new Dark Lord of the Sith and his apprentice. Finally, Ulic Qel-Droma, already on the dark side and allied with Exar Kun and Aleema Keto and Krath, would seek to form an army, and seeing a perfect opportunity for him, that army would be the Mandalorians. With the pieces united, in the year 3996 before Battle of Yavin, one of the most terrible wars that the Republic and the Jedi had to face would take place, thus beginning the history of the so-called Great Sith War. After months of Exar Kun and Ulic Qel-Droma joining forces, being appointed as master and apprentice respectively, their goal was clear: to destroy the Republic and the Jedi and bring back a golden age for the Sith. Accompanying the terror campaigns caused by Exar and Ulic throughout the galaxy, a second chaos is added by the Mandalorians, led by Mandalore the Indomitable. Quenching their thirst for honor and driven by their warrior spirit, the Mandalorians, after establishing themselves as a great power in the galaxy, from the year 7000 before Battle of Yavin, began a group of conquests in order to expand their territory and answer the expansionist call of his people, starting the Mandalorian Crusades. After thousands of years of conquest, these Mandalorian expansionist campaigns would cross paths chronologically with the war caused by Exar and Ulic. Taking advantage of the great confusion that there was in the Emperor's data system, the Mandalorians took this opportunity and mounting their characteristic combat droid, Basilisk War Droid, they undertook an attack against Crab, destroying Crab Carbonite Smelter in orbit. Two predators cannot coexist in the same place, and after the sudden invasion of the Mandalorians, their mere presence causes Ulic Qel-Droma's great plan to be compromised. After a talk with his lover, Aleema Keto, Ulic Qel-Droma contacts Mandalore the Indomitable to offer him terms of surrender. However, for the Mandalorians, in their culture, surrender is unacceptable. Instead, Mandalore the Indomitable proposes hand-to-hand combat, Mandalorian style. Mandalore versus Ulic. Qel-Droma accepts, but with one condition. If he wins, all the Mandalorians will have to serve Ulic. Mandalore the Indomitable accepted, citing the location of the fight in Quar. The rules for the duel were defined, being more favorable for Mandalore since he had set the rules himself. The setting would be the desert plain located on the planet Quar. Mandalore would use his war-mounted, the Basilisk War Droid, and also wield the Mythosaur axe. For Ulic, his weapon of choice is his lightsaber. However, Mandalore specified that he couldn't use a mount, and even Ulic wasn't allowed to set foot on solid ground, which would cause victory for the Mandalorians. Mandalore the Indomitable's attacks are ferocious. However, not even the highest technology is a match for the skills of a Force user like Ulic, destroying the Mandalorian's Basilisk War Droid. After losing his advantage using the Basilisk, Mandalore takes his axe and fights against Ulic's lightsaber. However, Ulic's powers and abilities are superior to those of Mandalore, and he is not a worthy rival for Qel-Droma, emerging victorious from the fight after leaving Mandalore on the ground and kneeling. Despite the request of the Mandalorian leader to end his life and take over the leadership of the Mandalorians, Ulic Qel-Droma offers to spare his life, and together with the Mandalorians and Exar Kun, they all join forces to confront the Republic and the Jedi. Meanwhile, Exar Kun was doing his part of the plan. The Dark Lord of the Sith had arrived on Ossus, and within the Order, to various Jedi apprentices, he began to sow ideas discordant with the philosophy that the Jedi Order was imparting among the Padawans. Hiding his true intentions, Exar exposes the existence of a forbidden knowledge that the Jedi Masters have hidden from all apprentices. Inviting all Jedi to join him, and under his tutelage, all will be able to break the limits that the Jedi Order imposes, avoiding at all times mentioning the dark origin of the new knowledge. Various Jedi doubted Exar Kun's words and the good intentions, sensing a darkness in Exar. Each Jedi expressed their concerns that Kun attempted to distance them, the apprentices, from his masters. Without worry and with his characteristic personality of security and confidence, Exar mentions that the Jedi Masters were wary of teaching their knowledge. He lashes out at all Jedi Masters, including the late Master Arca-Jeth, stating that the Jedi Order has been arrogant in limiting the potential of his apprentices. The tempting words permeate more and more into the ears of the Jedi. Additionally, Exar Kun and the Jedi recall memories of past battles where the Jedi have suffered defeats. To ensure even more followers for his cause, Exar Kun mentions that he has been changed by the new knowledge discovered by him, to the point of being able to defeat the fallen Jedi, freed and not, on his own without the help of any Jedi Master. As proof of his prowess, Exar displayed his Jedi amulet, a symbol of his supposed mastery, and extended an invitation to the other Jedi to join him in uncovering ancient secrets and keeping the Jedi Order constantly evolving, and prevent the Order from becoming extinct due to obsolete knowledge. Right there on Ossus, but in the Great Jedi Library, Master Oda Nur gives lessons to Nami Sunrider, accompanied by her daughter Bima. Both Jedi are great exponents of the Jedi battle meditation, and Oda Nur shares the knowledge of a more advanced level of that technique. Using her Jedi abilities, Nami could take power away from any opponent, effectively stripping them of the Force, being the most devastating power that a user of the light side can use. Of his most important treasures, Oda Nur shows Nami a Sith Holocron, a device containing forgotten knowledge and traditions dating back thousands of years, and which offered a glimpse into the dark secrets of the Sith. Unable to anticipate his presence, Exar Kun is hidden and listens to the conversation of Oda Nur and Nami Sunrider. After Nami's departure, the Jedi Master can perceive strange behavior in the Holocron as the device was glowing. Puzzled, Oda Nur wonders the reason for this, and at that moment, Exar Kun appears claiming the Holocron as his home. Oda Nur uses the Force to attack the Dark Jedi, however, he is no match for Exar, being annihilated by the Dark Lord of the Sith. Continuing with the lies, a group of Jedi enter Master Oda Nur's chamber, and upon seeing the scene, Exar Kun clarifies that the Jedi has vanished with the Force, and as a last will, he granted Exar the Holocron. In the orbit of the planet Forest is the Forest shipyards, used by the Republic to collect raw materials for the planet. However, this peaceful location of the Republic would fall victim to the combined attack of Krath led by Aleema and Ulic Qel-Droma, along with Mandalore the Indomitable and the Mandalorians. With full control of the shipyards, Ulic forces the surviving workers to hand over the operation codes of all the ships assembled in that shipyard. Shortly after, his master, the Dark Lord of the Sith, Exar Kun, contacts Ulic, who informs him that he has recruited 20 Jedi Knights. Ulic complains to Exar that there are few Jedi, since he boasts of being in command of the Mandalorians and the newest warships of the Republic. While Kun believes that they should gather more ships while he trains his Jedi, Ulic proposes attacking the galactic capital, Coruscant, as the Republic army is having trouble defending itself. Exar disagrees and says that they should strengthen the army before attacking. Mandalore the Indomitable backs Ulic and assures Exar that his clan are the best fighters in the galaxy. Exar allows Ulic to continue with his plan, but warns him that if he fails, he will continue without him. Ulic is determined to prove that the Republic is weak and vulnerable. After the destruction in the shipyards, Republic reinforcements arrive at the scene. While they rescue the survivors and check the station's security systems, the Republic discovers in a hologram that the perpetrator of this misfortune had been Ulic, and that he had also joined forces with the Mandalorians. The news wasn't long in coming. Already in Coruscant, everyone was aware of the revelation of the identity of their new enemy, the fallen Jedi and traitor to the Republic, Ulic Qel-Droma. Taking all the Jedi by surprise, Qel-Droma and Nami Sunrider are perplexed by the news. Master Bodo Siosbas clarifies that Qel-Droma is not the only Jedi involved in this war, since he is not acting alone. He confesses that his apprentice, Exar Kun, is also the cause of these misfortunes. With all the Jedi gathered on Coruscant, a disturbance in the Force interrupts the moment due to the surprise attack by Ulic Qel-Droma, Krath, and the Mandalorians against the Republic. The invasion of Qel-Droma effectively takes the Republic by surprise, as the army are outnumbered. Ulic's main objective is to deal a final blow to Coruscant, take the Republic war room, and knock out the Republic military command. Mandalore deployed ruthless assault teams while Aleema used her dark Sith illusions. For their part, all the Jedi present in Coruscant bravely kept attacks on their enemies at bay. Despite this, Ulic and Aleema managed to reach the Republic war room. Inside the room, Qel-Droma would take control of the place. However, when the Jedi approached, the traitor Aleema ordered the withdrawal of Krath and the Mandalorians, leaving Ulic alone against the Jedi, and leaving Mandalore stunned by the instructions given and without being able to refuse a direct order. As the invading forces fled, the Jedi burst into the hall. Ulic swung his lightsaber but was quickly restrained by the Jedi. Master Budu and Nami blocked his powers while the others imprisoned him in a wall of light. Once captured, the Supreme Chancellor thanked the Jedi, announcing that Qel-Droma would be tried and sentenced to death. While Ulic's failed attempt to attack Coruscant was underway, Exar Kun had taken his new apprentices to Yavin 4. Upon landing, several Jedi were eager to learn of the unknowns and new knowledge that Exar had promised them. However, there were others who were doubtful of the place and of Exar himself. Kun took them to his great temple. Among the distrustful Jedi, Oswilum sensed that the place was full of dark side energy and tried to return to the ship. However, warriors loyal to Exar Kun attacked him, starting a battle along with the other Jedi. Amid the chaos, Exar tried to calm everyone down, but Oswilum remained unsure of the current situation and was convinced that Exar Kun had been blinded by the dark side. Trying to keep the lie afloat, Exar Kun clarified that Yavin 4 indeed had a very strong presence of the dark side. However, and even as a sign of peace, Exar disarms himself in front of the Jedi, and he states that his objective is to purify Yavin 4 so that the light side of the Force would reign on the moon. Convinced of Exar's false words, the Jedi support the Dark Lord of the Sith without knowing that the doom would be near. On the stairs of the temple, Exar revealed that to free Yavin 4 from the dark side, he needed everyone's help. While taking the Holocron of Odan-Ur, Exar confesses to everyone that this wasn't a Jedi Holocron, since in reality, its origin, it was Sith. Saying that he wanted to destroy the Holocron, Exar had the Jedi raise their arms to block the explosion, but his real plan was to corrupt them and turn them into Sith followers. By destroying the Sith Holocron, Exar caused the release of faint remnants of the Sith, causing them to find a new home and taking over the bodies and minds of the Jedi. Of all the Jedi, only Keto, who had joined Exar, was unaffected. Exar Kun confessed to Keto that he would serve Exar in a special way. Gaining a new entourage of corrupted Jedi, Exar Kun sent them all on a mission to show the Jedi to never underestimate the power of the Sith. Sometime later, after the withdrawal ordered by Aleema, conspiracies within Krath didn't wait long. Various Krath officers loyal to Qel-Droma were punished by Aleema, and in addition, Mandalore the Indomitable maintained his own doubts about what happened inside the war room and Aleema's true intentions. However, in Aleema's presence, Mandalore must hide his suspicions from her. Determined to continue the attack on the Republic, Aleema orders Mandalore to have the fleet of ships ready to attack. Mandalore does as Aleema orders him. However, the Mandalorian also has another mission to fulfill, a duty with Ulic Qel-Droma, and with the help of Exar Kun, Mandalore will be able to rescue Ulic. In the Republic Senate Hall, the trial of Ulic Qel-Droma begins. The Supreme Chancellor accuses Ulic of many crimes, destroying shipyards, looting supply bases, enslaving, annihilating entire populations, and most seriously, betraying his Jedi vow to protect the Republic. Ulic with a defiant personality, lashes out against the Republic and the Jedi, advocating his mission to bring back a golden age where the dark side reigns over the entire galaxy, overturning all the achievements of the Republic. Ulic's words were the spark that ignited the anger of everyone in the Republic. However, in Kay and Nami, the only thing they felt was enormous sadness. Interrupting the trial, Ulic's brother, Qel-Droma, attempted to defend his brother, claiming that Ulic was deeply affected by the death of Master Arca-Jeth, and further stating that Ulic attempted to infiltrate the Krath cult with intentions of helping the Jedi and the Republic, doing a great service for the light side. Ulic, fed up with his brother, orders him not to interfere, saying that he didn't understand the reason for his actions. To everyone's surprise, an unexpected visitor arrives at the trial: Exar Kun, Mandalore, and several Massassi warriors. None of the Republic soldiers could do anything against Exar, since upon arrival, with his great skill in the Sith magic, Exar froze the entire audience present, except the Supreme Chancellor and the Jedi. Mandalore fulfills his promise and reminds Ulic that he swore eternal loyalty to him, leaving Ulic impressed by the devotion of his loyal vassal. Worried about Ulic, Nami attempted to reason with the fallen Jedi, but he warned her not to interfere or he would have to hurt her. While Ulic kept the other Jedi busy, Exar Kun confronts the Supreme Chancellor while at the same time criticizing and offending the Republic. It was through the use of his Sith powers that he took the Chancellor and controlled his mind and body, humiliating the Republic leader even more. Exar forces the Chancellor to continue his speech of hatred towards the Republic, but now with his own voice. Exar dug his fingers into the back of the Supreme Chancellor's head, wounding him. Then he let go the Chancellor as if he were nothing and threw his lifeless body to the ground. Kay tried to reason with Ulic again, but Ulic warned him that to stop him, Kay would have to kill him, something Kay obviously rejected. The family ties and the love that Kay has for his brother prevent him from doing anything against the enemies of the Republic. However, in the distance, Master Budu Siosk enters the Senate Hall, indicating that he could end the life of his former student, Exar Kun. Walking calmly towards his former teacher, Exar Kun accepts that they both have unfinished business. The two had a private conversation where Exar boasted of having great power, and he even offered Budu a place in his new Sith Brotherhood, but Budu refused. Given this, Exar Kun takes his lightsaber, turns it on, and attacks. Master Budu, as in the past, defends himself against Exar's attacks with his staff. As they fight, Budu informs Exar to reconsider his position regarding the Force and return to the light side. However, Exar refuses, claiming that Budu has nothing to offer him, since without help, Exar has become a powerful Sith. Like their duel on Dantooine, where at the time Master and Apprentice practiced with the lightsaber, Master Budu Siosk showed moments where he surpassed Exar with the lightsaber. However, Exar had something else to show. Taking his weapon, Exar Kun ignites an additional blade, turning it into a double-bladed lightsaber. After this, he mockingly asks his master if he likes the modification he has made to his lightsaber. After an intense battle, Kun managed to take down his master, and fulfilling part of the plan, he ended the life of the Great Jedi Master Budu Siosk, who became one with the Force. Having finished, Kun leaves Coruscant with his apprentice Ulic and Mandalore the Indomitable. After the trip back to Yavin 4, Mandalore speaks with Ulic and tells him about his doubts about Aleema and confesses that for him, Aleema betrayed Ulic. All this sounds logical to Qel-Droma, since analyzing the situation, Aleema was the cause of Ulic ending the life of her cousin Sadal, in addition to remembering all the manipulations that she did with Qel-Droma, including believing that they were in love. Tired of Aleema's manipulations, he promises to deal with her in the future. Even in his reflection, Ulic remembers his moments with Nami Sunrider. When he meets Aleema again, he hides his feelings from her and acts as if nothing is happening, while Aleema is falsely glad that he is alive and hugs him. Exar Kun and Ulic over the last few months have won many battles against the Republic and the Jedi Order, capturing different systems throughout the galaxy and uniting the aspiration of a new golden age of the Sith to many planets. In his plan to revive the Sith Empire, Exar Kun had ordered different Jedi possessed by dark-side spirits to annihilate their own masters, causing a purge of Jedi masters throughout the galaxy. Returning to Embria, Nami Sunrider, her young daughter Bima, and the Jedi Silver visit Nami's master, Thon, to find peace and expand their knowledge. However, among the Jedi corrupted by Exar, Oswillum had been sent to end the life of his master, Master Thon. Oswillum, together with Keto and with the help of native creatures from the planet, attacked the three Jedi, but the Jedi fought back. Nami used her Jedi Vital Meditation ability to confuse and defeat the creatures. Master Thon, upon arresting Oswillum, confronts his student, confessing his disappointment in his actions. Keto escaped from the planet, while Oswillum was captured by Nami and Silver, failing in his mission to end Master Thon's life. The purge of different Jedi Masters at hands of their own apprentices wreaked havoc on the balance of the Force and the light side. Lightsaber clashes, where confused masters watched as their own apprentices attacked them, and in their last moments of life, the last thing they could perceive was disappointment at failing them as masters. Jedi Masters being attacked and destroyed in their dreadnought, or even being killed by the most cowardly way possible. What Exar Kun had started against his master Voodoo, Exar's acolytes had continued, ending the lives of many Jedi Masters. News of the massacre reaches the ears of the Jedi in the Great Jedi Library. Interrupting the conversation, Tad Danita warns that the jump station, Complex 9, is under attack by a Sith warship. This seems strange to everyone, with Master Thon indicating that this attack was a trick, and that the real treasure that Exar Kun could hope to take is in Ossus. But three Jedi are sent to respond to the attack. Complex 9 was located in an unstable cluster made up of 10 stars, with the jump station being the only habitable place nearby. When the Jedi arrived at the scene, they encountered Naga Sattau's lordship commanded by Aleema. Despite attacks of the Jedi starfighters, Aleema uses the Sith power in Naga Sattau's ship to reap the core from the center of one of the stars in the cluster. She hurls the flaming radioactive core into the midst of the Jedi, incinerating them. Exar Kun and Ulic Qel-Droma's plan had worked. However, there was still more left for the plan to be completed. Aleema and Keto are satisfied after the victory. However, they realized that Aleema's action had started a chain reaction that also destroyed the other stars, causing an explosion on a cosmic scale, resulting in the death of Aleema, who in her last seconds of life, she understood that her ambush had been discovered. Having succeeded in their plan to eliminate any threat that stood in their way, Ulic and Exar Kun decide to continue their conquest of the galaxy. The supernova caused by Aleema was of incalculable size. Such was the explosion that it caused a wave of devastation that affected different nearby planets, one of them being Ossus. This was a perfect detail for Exar and Ulic's plan. The Jedi Order was evacuating the inhabitants of Ossus due to the deadly shockwave. Among the chaos, Kun and Qel-Droma took advantage of the complete distraction to enter Ossus and steal treasures from the Jedi. Meanwhile, Ulic had ordered Mandalore to attack Onderon with the Mandalorian army. All the inhabitants of Ossus feared for their lives, and the mass evacuation of the planet due to the upcoming firestorm creates the perfect environment for Exar and Ulic to sneak through the skies of Ossus undetected. However, while Ulic Qel-Droma and Nami Sunrider were evacuating the planet, they saw Ulic's ship. Kay remained hopeful of bringing his brother back, so he pursues Ulic's ship. When communicating with his brother, Ulic is taken by surprise at the current situation. He didn't expect to meet Kay. Given Ulic's refusal to talk to Kay, the latter carefully tries to shoot at the engines of Ulic's ship. However, Ulic is more cunning and shoots at Kay's ship, causing it to crash. Meanwhile, Exar Kun, after a brief duel with Jedi Master Uthvenar and emerging victorious, seizes countless Jedi artifacts and very important treasures. After fulfilling his objective, Exar leaves Ossus, thinking that Ulic could take care of himself. While Tatanida and Nami Sunrider evacuated Ossus, they saw Kay's ship crash, and realizing that Kay was in trouble, they ran for his help. Even though Kay's ship was about to crash, his skills as a pilot allowed him to avoid a deadly disaster. A little wounded, Ulic Qel-Droma left his ship and went with his brother. Ulic, with lightsaber in hand, threatened Kay to leave him alone, because if the fall of his ship hadn't hurt him enough, he would. Despite Kay's benevolence toward his brother, Ulic, consumed by the dark side, kept pushing Kay away with threats and indifference. Wanting to save Ulic from the dark side, Kay tearfully answers Ulic's call by taking his lightsaber. Although the two Qel-Droma brothers are ready to face each other in a duel, Kay begs Ulic not to do so and to remember above all what they experienced together, blaming the Sith poison that had been introduced to Ulic since Kay was still without able to believe that his brother had indeed fallen to the dark side. Ulic, at Kay's pleas, responded with his lightsaber, attacking his brother. Kay's words were of no use against an Ulic blinded by the dark side. The situation became critical when Kay mentions the late Master Arca, attempting to free Ulic from the blame for Arca's death. However, this makes everything worse. Ulic is plunged into uncontrollable rage, resulting in even more violent attacks with the lightsaber, causing Ulic to cut off Kay's cybernetic arm. Kay, kneeling, implores Ulic to stop and reminds him that he loves him, but Ulic mentions that Kay should have left him alone, and then, with one last attack, he seared through the chest of his brother with the lightsaber, killing him. Seconds after ending the life of his brother, Ulic feels indescribable pain and guilt, bursting into tears while his arms hold the inert body of Ulic Qel-Droma. Nami found it necessary to appropriately punish Ulic for what he did, so she used a very particular ability. Since her meeting with the late Master Rodanur and the conversation between them about the ability called Wall of Light, that allowed Force users to be stripped of that gift, Nami Sunrider had studied and practiced that Force ability, so with the anger inside her at seeing the death of her friend, for Nami, acting irrationally, it was time to put into action what she had practiced, and it was thus that through her abilities, Nami stripped Ulic of his connection to the Force, causing him the worst punishment a Jedi could ever experience. After being stopped by Todd, she understood what she had caused. The Wall of Light was undoubtedly a technique that completely neutralized an enemy without violence, but with anger and sadness overflowing in Nami, she, without thinking too much about the situation, caused the worst fate for Ulic. Nami was horrified, having no idea what she had done, while Ulic mourns the loss of his Jedi powers, grieving being blinded to the Force. Emerging between Ulic completely defeated and Nami totally devastated by her action, Oswilum speaks up and convinces Ulic to help the Jedi again, but now to face his master, the Dark Lord of the Sith, Exar Kun. Ulic accepts and knows exactly where to take his Jedi companions, to Yavin 4. After leaving the planet, the Jedi witness the misfortune of Ossus. The explosion of 10 suns sears the face of Ossus like a galactic funeral pyre, causing great damage to what for many was the most important planet for the Jedi Order, a place they called home. While Ulic's defeat had taken place, on Onderon, his most loyal warrior, Mandalore the Indomitable, along with the Mandalorians, had been sent to conquer the planet. As in the Beast Wars, Mandalore and the Mandalorians took advantage of the natural phenomenon that the moon Dexon and Onderon had every year, the breach that their two atmospheres combined offered, to begin their conquest on the planet. However, this wouldn't be an easy task, since King Oron Kira and his army of Beast Riders would bravely defend Onderon from the invasion of the Mandalorians. Although the Mandalorians are known throughout the galaxy as one of the strongest and most powerful armies, King Oron Kira was being supported by the Republic, and reinforcements from Coruscant soon arrived and overwhelmed the Mandalorians. Despite his imminent defeat, Mandalore the Indomitable orders his warriors to first die rather than choose the dishonorable fate of surrender. Suffering considerable casualties in their ranks and changing the strategy, Mandalore orders a strategic retreat to the moon of Dexon, where they could take advantage of the jungle and wild terrain that the moon offers. Many Mandalorians were unable to escape as the Republic and the Beast Riders hunted them down before abandoning Onderon. Already in the jungle of Dexon, despite the ferocity of Mandalore the Indomitable in battle, it wasn't enough for the ferocity that the wild creatures of the place possessed, having coveted their new prey, being the end of the great leader of the Mandalorians, Mandalore the Indomitable. However, as tradition dictates, Mandalore is not unique. The mask of the leader of the Mandalorians is a symbol that the most capable Mandalorian must wear to stay the course and keep Mandalorian culture alive. Mandalore will always be there, waiting for the most capable warrior to be ready to take over and lead his people to eternal glory. With Ulic Qel-Droma and the Mandalorians out of the war, thousands upon thousands of Force wielders converge upon one small jungle moon, Yavin 4. From the surface of the moon, Exar Kun watches the Jedi ships cover the sky of Yavin, cursing Ulic as he knew that he had betrayed him. However, all wasn't lost. Despite the numerical difference, Exar knew that he could fight the Jedi in other ways, thanks to the Sith knowledge he possessed. After the arrival of the Jedi to Yavin 4, victory was no longer an option, but survival was, and Exar knew it. So with the help of his Massassi warriors, he began a ritual never before seen in the galaxy. Seeking to be free of his mortal body and allow his spirit to roam the galaxy for eternity, Exar Kun sacrifices the lives of all his Massassi warriors by draining all of their life energy. The Jedi who had arrived on Yavin 4 joined forces to generate a wall of light of enormous scale to contain the Dark Lord of the Sith. After the ritual, Exar Kun's body ceased to exist, releasing an enormous amount of energy that, when reacting with the Jedi's wall of light, caused a synergistic effect, causing massive destruction of the surface of Yavin 4 in the form of a shockwave and energy that consumed the moon's vegetation. The obvious destruction of the entire place, including the temple of Exar Kun, was a clear signal to the Jedi of the indisputable end of Exar, thus ending one of the greatest threats the galaxy has ever seen. However, without Jedi knowledge, Exar Kun's ritual had worked, but not as he would have wanted. At the time of leaving Yavin 4, the Jedi knew that they had been the victors of the Sith War, since all of Exar Kun's allies had fallen. There were no traces of the Mandalorians. Aleema, Keto, Krath, and Exar Kun had been destroyed, and Ulic Qel-Droma had returned to the light side after his redemption. After this, it was time for the Jedi and the Republic to restore peace to the galaxy. Despite the passage of time and the victory of the Jedi and the Republic envying the key piece that caused the defeat of Exar Kun, the pain in Ulic Qel-Droma endured. Resentment and regret for his actions were still present, for having lost everything, his master, and having murdered his brother, but even pain and sorrow for himself, for having lost his connection with the Force and his abilities and powers. Aboard his ship called K's Dream, Ulic had traveled throughout the galaxy in search of something or someone to help him regain his powers, to give him hope of being a Jedi again. So in desperation, he returns to Yavin 4. Upon stepping onto the surface of Yavin 4 again, Ulic is shocked by all the destruction that Exar Kun's ritual had caused 2 years earlier. Not knowing what to do, Qel-Droma heads to the temple of Exar Kun, but nothing happens. Ulic had been blinded and deaf to the Force, and the only thing Ulic heard was the silence of Yavin 4. Disappointed and frustrated, Ulic descends the stairs of the temple and walks away, knowing that there was nothing for him in that place. But inside the temple, Ulic was unable to hear Exar Kun's call. Despite believing that he had died, Exar consciousness had been trapped in the temple of Yavin 4 in the form of a weak spirit that could no longer connect with the physical plane, and despite feeling and calling to Ulic through the Force, the former apprentice cannot hear Exar's call. A cry of frustration echoed unheard inside the temple as the footsteps of Ulic Qel-Droma left the place, leaving Exar Kun hopeless and turning those hopes into bitter ashes when solitude closed again, eternal and inescapable. After the devastating Great Sith War, the threat of Exar Kun, Krath, and the Mandalorians had been exterminated. However, the Jedi were aware of the terrible experiments Exar Kun had done, producing terrible creatures. Given this, the Jedi Order's response was to start a campaign to search for and end all existing creatures in the galaxy as a result of Exar Kun's Sith alchemy. Among these beasts were particularly the fearsome Terrantitex, beings that fed on the Force-sensitive individuals. The purge of these creatures would be known as the Great Hunt, beginning in the year 3995 before Battle of Yavin, a year after the defeat of Exar Kun. Onderon, Yavin 4, Tython had been planets already purged of the Terrantitex, and because they were such dangerous creatures, even for the Jedi being called Jedi killers, the task of hunting the Terrantitex were entrusted to well-trained Jedi. Continuing the second year of the Purge, 3 Jedi had been sent to Tatooine to end the threats of these creatures: Shayla Nur, Gunhan Sarish, and the cousin of the fallen Jedi Ulic Qel-Droma, Ulic Qel-Droma. After their success on Tatooine, the 3 Jedi returned with the Jedi Council to Tatooine to be informed for their next hunt. The indicated place would be a very special one, the homeworld of the Sith, Coruscant. The location of the place caused conflict among the 3 Jedi, since the presence of the darkness and corruption on the planet was well known. In addition, within the Jedi Council, some masters doubted the decision to send a Qel-Droma to a place too rooted in the dark side, because of what happened with Ulic Qel-Droma. However, the masters know that they cannot blame Duron for the decisions of his cousin Ulic, and Duron is one of the best Jedi hunters in the Order. Among the 3 Jedi, Ulic Qel-Droma had the particularity of having his ethics and conviction well-founded, reflected once they were already in Coruscant collecting information from taverns. where Duron refused to use spies to bribe people. However, this personality was contradicted by his actions, since he had a romantic relationship with his partner Shayla Nur, something that bothered his Jedi colleague Gun Hansarish, since being a team, he feared that this would influence his duty as a Jedi. In the trio, Duron played a particular role. Within the Order, he had earned a formidable reputation as one of the best hunters. However, unlike his colleagues, Qel-Droma mainly focused on fighting the fearsome creatures in an unconventional way. Instead of relying solely on his lightsaber, Duron used the power of the Force in a unique way, where through his remarkable mental abilities, Qel-Droma could delve deep into the minds of his prey, sowing confusion within the beasts, allowing his fellow Jedi to attack more effectively. This mental connection also granted Qel-Droma a deeper understanding of the Tyrantitex, allowing him to glimpse their thoughts and understand their nature. For a week, Shayla, Gun, and Duron had been gathering information about the whereabouts of the Tyrantitex on Korriban, and during a night resting, Duron confesses to Shayla that he is tired of staying on the planet, as he was worried that the corruption of the place was influencing the Jedi. He also tells Shayla that the connection he has developed with the Tyrantitex during the hunts has caused a fatigue and even a remorse for killing them, coming to understand the beasts. In that moment of tension and overwhelm, Duron has a vision. He can see images, but he doesn't understand the situation. Duron can see destruction, a war to come, a captured Jedi, and a Force user holding a red lightsaber with a completely deformed, jawless face. After the vision, fear overwhelmed Duron, and the moment Shayla tried to comfort him, the two succumbed to their feelings for each other and kissed. Gun Hansarish would interrupt the moment, and upon seeing what happened, would start an argument between the three companions, since the Twi'lek Jedi would be against Duron and Shayla's relationship, since the Jedi Code indicated that they could not develop bonds. Disappointed in his two companions, Gun left Korriban, leaving Duron and Shayla. Before leaving, the Twi'lek would give them a clue that he had found, and to be able to find the Tyrantitex, the right place to search was the Valley of the Dark Lords. Gun continued the hunt alone while he left the lovers behind. On the part of the Twi'lek, his separation from the group would be fatal. The hunt would take him to Kashyyyk, and with the help of a bait, he would attack a Tyrantitex. However, the three Jedi were unstoppable, but now without his two companions, Gun Hansarish couldn't survive the attack of the creature. In Korriban, in the imposing Valley of the Dark Lords, Shayla and Duron continued the trail in search of the creatures, entering the interior of the catacombs of the place. After eliminating a few enemies, Nur and Qel-Droma would be ambushed by Tyrantitex. When Shayla jumped to the attack, Duron realized with horror that he could no longer connect with the creature's mind. The Tyrantitex struck Nur aside, and when Qel-Droma rushed to defend Shayla, the creature severely wounded him. In his final moments, Qel-Droma had one last vision. He could see a masked Force user who one day he would discover his remains and take his robe, and he would be the one who would defeat the disfigured Force user from the previous vision. With his last breath, he promised his undying love to Nur before succumbing to his wounds. Consumed by fury, Shayla arrives at the tomb of Naga Sadow in Korriban. In front of the entrance, she swears to avenge Duron. She no longer cares about codes or consoles, light or dark sides. None of that makes sense anymore. After entering the tomb, Shayla finds herself face to face with a group of Tyrantitex. Only seeing darkness before her, she takes her lightsaber ready to fight. However, from the moment her loved Duron died, everything about her lost meaning, and rather than trying to end the mission on Korriban, Shayla had already accepted her fate. Her last thoughts evoked her Jedi Master's thoughts, remembering the great expectations he had for her. Him reminding her that she could achieve anything she set her mind to, only if she always stayed in the light. But Shayla knew that the light was no longer an option. She had lost her way. She had failed.